service announcement. These videos have the full intentions to be used as conversational tools and purposes only. Anything that is expressed in these videos and videos before and after has the sole purpose of that reason. I know a lot of this stuff is repetitive. I hope that you can understand that. Again, these are for conversational purposes only. The comment box on these videos is for that purpose. Thanks for watching. Now, with that intro out of the way, a lot of you may have already seen the little short video I posted about the baby. The baby is here and is doing fine. The mother's doing fine. We're all doing fine. And she is the most precious thing in the entire universe. I will put a picture on the screen right now of baby Harper and plan on doing a video about her and that little situation. But this video is going to be just like the rest of the videos and dedicated to this week's Street Outlaws. But there is just a few things I want to talk about before we talk about race night. And the first one is when they was testing. They all went to Thunder Valley, they was all testing, and everybody was helping each other. I mean, I seen people who actually had to race on race night against each other, helping each other. And my opinion is it shows. Most of the races was within a fender or a door or a car length. It was all very close races, and everyone is working together. I don't know if it is the way that they're talking about, the camaraderie of what the show used to be. It just makes for a better show, a better family show, and I love it. I absolutely love it. But that and one more really obvious thing, I probably wouldn't even bring it up if it wasn't for something Chief said on the Chief and Sean Show podcast. And that is Chief has got new teeth. And proud for him. He has always supposedly been self-conscious about his teeth and his ears, but he has a brand new set of pearly whites. And I remember on the Chief and Sean podcast, he made fun of Dave when Dave got new teeth, and that's the only reason why I bring it up. Chief did call Dave out, so I'm calling Chief out on his new teeth, and they was very obvious. But they look better than the ones he had before, so I guess that's a good thing. A lot of good races went on this week, and with no further ado, let's talk about them. The first race I'm going to talk about is Boosted versus Shane. Boosted showed up again on small tires, and as far as I know, even in real life today, he is still running small tires on the orange car, and he is the small tire king. He is the small tire guy, and as much as he knows about racing in these cars, and even with Kayla's car, he has to know how to make big tires work. So I really hope we see that in Boosted's future, and we know he's probably going to get knocked off the list because there's not room for small tires on that list. Most of the time, people go up there, as you've seen with Shane, they don't want to get outrun so bad that they put a tune in the car that knocks the tires off, and Boosted does win. Between that and Boosted being deadly on the light, it is hard to catch him. If you bobble, make one mistake, knock the tires off, have to pedal it or anything, Boosted's done gone, and there's not enough real estate to run him down. That is been the problem with Boosted moving all up to number 5 in the past with the yellow car, and it's what's happening right now, except the cars are faster. He hit a roadblock with Jeff Lutz, and it was by half a track. That is where all of these big tire cars will be if Boosted does not get under their skin and they don't make a mistake. I'm going to say that Monza is going to outrun Dominator next week, knock Dominator off. Boosted will slowly fall down, and Dominator will outrun Boosted to get back on the list. That's my prediction. The next race, obviously, that I want to talk about is the one I just mentioned, and that is Dominator and Monza with his new car. We're going to rewind back to where the car was primered and he just built the new car, and we seen how fast his car was on No Prep King. So you got to remember this was all before that, and he was just getting the car dialed in, ready, tunes and all that. When you see him come back and he was talking about what the car done, he said it didn't have no power down low, he had all the power out the back door. He was anxious to look at the tune to see what he needed to change to be faster, and I expect him to have that fixed by next week. HPP is also in his pocket. They are the #1 tuners, and without a doubt, his car will be a lot faster come next week. The next race I want to talk about is Chuck and the MURDERNOVA. And they, even last week, they had been talking about needing to wait another week and all that, and they wanted to race. Chuck had never raced the new MURDERNOVA, and they wanted to race for a higher spot than that, but we hear that a lot between the guys. I feel like that race was won on the split second that Sean let go of the button from the flashlight, from the start. That little bit of a jump is what carried him all the way down the track, and I guarantee you the ETs was nearly exactly the same. Everything about those two cars on that pass was about exact. Both of them was rolling, both of them was moving, and it was a great race. I do like that Chuck didn't turn right around and call him back out, because since the spot changed hands, he could do that. And he didn't. But you also heard Sean quickly say, "We'll race again" at the top. So I don't know if it was already agreed upon and it didn't show it on camera or what, but he let him move up. Great race. Like I said, this whole season has still been an amazing season, and they are sticking to what they said. Last season, when they sat down before the season and talked about the brotherhood and all that, and then it just went to crap, that is happening this season, and I absolutely love it. The next race I want to talk about is a continuation from the race last week with Fireball and Doc. Doc lost last week, and out of respect, I feel like Ryan didn't ask for the $500, and he had the opportunity to pay, he just didn't. And being that Ryan let Doc skip him when Ryan's car was tore up, it kind of was dirty of Doc. But you've seen before the race at the coin flip, Doc walked up and tried to hand him the $500, and Ryan turned it down. I thought that was a respectable thing to do. Ryan does seem to be one of the most respectable guys in the cast as far as situations like that, but the double or nothing and the agreement to not call each other out afterwards on the next race, I thought was a good thing. Let them move up, which forced the next race that I want to talk about, and that is Sean and Doc. After Sean outrun Chuck and Ryan outrun Doc, that put them two to racing. And Doc has been absolutely on the light. I do feel like it is a guess every time, and it has worked for him so far. Well, his luck run out against Sean, and he jumped, and we seen both Sean's doors flew off. When one flew off, the other ones flew off. These doors are just on little hinges. You pick them up and set them off. It's kind of like a Jeep door, basically, is all that's holding these doors on there. These is just a piece of sheet metal and Lexan windows with rivets holding it together. They're very simple, and it doesn't take but, like Chief said, a little gush of air to get through there, and it will blow them off. He blew them both off, but since Doc jumped, he lost. First is worst, and that gave Sean the race. And that was another man thing to do of Sean. Instead of him just taking the spot, him agreeing to re-race and see who can actually win, whose car's faster, to the finish line. And Doc's car is no joke. Doc's car right now is rolling. He does have a #1 capable car on the street. I don't even think Doc was ready for how fast his car has been here lately. With the help of HPP, with the help of his 1,000 cubic inch engine, it is a #1 capable car right now, and I love the diversity of all 3-4 of the #1 cars. It's insane. They are all so different and so close, and I love it. It's not just all twin turbo small blocks in the front like it has been for 2-3 seasons. The next thing that I want to talk about is the race for #1 between Daddy Dave and Big Chief. That was a awesome race. That race was won on the starting line when Dave left ahead of Chief. But it was a good race all the way down. And they have raced, 6 or 7 times. They had talked about a few times. Chiefs won every time. Dave was owed one. Dave won the race. And that's not really what I want to talk about. I want to talk about something Chief done right after. And you can say what you want to about Big Chief. A lot of people have a lot of reasons for not liking him, but if you go back and the things that he does on the show that people don't even really notice is for the list. The things that Chief does, I truly feel like, is for the list to be better as a whole. Because the spot changed hands, Chief could have called Dave right back out and raced again and locked that up where Ryan Martin couldn't move. And he met Ryan Martin and accepted the call out from him for Ryan to be able to move up. But he could have went and called Dave out and didn't. He accepted that call out, and I do feel like that was a man thing to do. I know I've used that term a lot in this video, a man thing to do, but it was. He could have run and hid from him or called Dave out at the finish line to where Ryan couldn't have had that opportunity, but he didn't, and it paid off. He outrun Ryan, left Ryan at number 3. Ryan has a fast car, but it wasn't fast enough to stay ahead of Chief tonight, and he does have a call out back on Dave for the number 1 spot, and I do feel like next list race he will get it back. Chief's car is the most street capable car on the list, and it has shown for the past couple of seasons. He has stayed in the top number 1 or 2 or 3, but mainly the number 1 spot for a long time, and it's because he lives for it. He's not doing the no prep. He's not just wearing his car out like so many of the rest of them. And I mean, he is a leader. He does lead the list. He got the show where it's at. You hear, people that's trying to lock up the list or running from people, they'll call them out at the other end of the track. Chief didn't come back and took his call out from Ryan like a man, outrun him, and then called Dave out. That is very respectable in my book. There's so many people that don't like Chief because of the things that has happened, but that is, if you can't respect that, you don't know why you don't like him. I will say this, I noticed that Dave come back across the starting line with a chutes dragon. In other words, he didn't stop at the big end to fold his chutes up and all that. He turned around and come back, and that may be why Chief didn't get a chance to call him out, but it's respectable either way. He didn't pitch a gripe about it, didn't pitch a bitch about it. All he said was, no problem, that's the only way you're going to make it to number 1. And he turned around and outrun him, and he said, that's a very good number 3 car. And, I know that's a little trash talk, but it was true. Right then, at that particular night, that is how the list fell. That is how it worked. That is, it worked out like it was supposed to work out, and I don't think it could have worked out any better. There's one more thing I want to mention before I end this video, and that's about Ryan Martin and the Fireball Camaro. Basically, since he come on the list, he has been a number 1 car, or a number 1 capable car at least. And this season, it seems like he's a lot more conservative. Something he said several seasons ago, the A-pillar is at a different angle, the way his seat is set in there is at a different angle, and he cannot see the flashlight. And with his car being so fast, a lot of times he waits till he sees the other car leave before he leaves. Well, the list is so fast right now, he can't do that. He always lets the other person leave before he does. He never trees anyone unless it's on a track with a Christmas tree. He is going to have to start taking that chance like everyone else and treeing someone when the cars are so fast and so close to being, they're just so close as far as speed, as mile-an-hour times. These cars is insane. It's not like it was when Ryan introduced himself on the list, and he has got to get his car and be confident enough in his driving ability and himself to leave when the flashlight comes on versus when someone else takes off. But I'm going to end this video right here. It's starting to rain and it's about to get really loud in here. Anything you want me to know, say, do, or have, my email address is on the screen. I have received 1 or 2 things in the P.O. box, so I'm going to do a giveaway probably within the next 2 or 3 weeks. Hit the P.O. box up. It's on the screen right now. Thank you for watching. Godspeed, and I will see you in the next video.